What in the world just happened? You have just witnessed the greatest divisional round in NFL history. 4 games down to the wire, determined by a total of 15 points. 3 of those determined by a total of 9 points. Overtimes, back and forth, comebacks that were successful, comebacks that fell short. And now we are down to the final 4. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into a brand new episode of Time to Football. My name is Hassan Khan, the host of this channel that we like to call Time to Football. Glad you guys are able to join us for this wonderful, marvelous, post-divisional round show edition of Time to Football. There's a lot to unpack here. A lot to unpack, and I'm sure you guys have a lot that you guys want to say as well. And we give you that opportunity to give your thoughts and your opinions live on air if you wanted to. You have to have a Discord account. Just go to our server on Discord, join our server. The link is in the description. Click that, join the server, and just wait. In the waiting room channel, under voice channels, you'll see one that says waiting room. And then towards the end of the show, in the next 20, 25, 30 minutes or so, we're going to be selecting some people to give their thoughts on air. So if you want to hang out for the show, watch this on your phone, computer, whatever, and just wait in the waiting room, or you want to join in there later on, probably in the next 25 minutes or so, you can do that. But I'm going to go ahead and remind you guys throughout the duration of the show, yes, you can join us in Discord and give your thoughts and your opinions. Guys, oh my goodness. Oh my freaking goodness. How amazing was this weekend of football for anyone, for any NFL fan? Doesn't matter if you have any sort of association or any sort of stake in these teams or these games that have been played. It was just great football to watch. Fantastic football all weekend long, from the start of it, from the Bengals and Titans to the end of it, where Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce had a walk-off touchdown. Leave your thoughts in your comments down below. And I'm actually going to interact with you guys and let you guys know the question of the day, because I was actually very curious to know your thoughts. Where does the Bills-Chiefs game rank for you? As far as it could be the best game of the season, maybe the best game of the last decade. Is it the best game of all time in your opinion? Going all time is actually quite a remark to say that, because there's been a lot of very, very good games in history. Now, Chiefs-Bills competes up there. It's up there definitely. But I'd say for sure, it has to be the game of the year. I mean, it was between this game and then the Chargers-Raiders game in Week 18, between which one was the better game. I got to give it to the Chiefs-Bills. The fact that 35 points were scored, or 32 points, in the last 2 minutes and overtime, I mean, that already tells you enough what you need to know about the Chiefs-Bills game. And you guys are going ahead and leaving your thoughts in your comments down below. Dan is saying, good morning from Montreal, T2F. Yeah. Hey, Dan is. Thanks for tuning in. What an epic game between Kansas and Buffalo. I agree with you, man. It was, I think a lot of people can agree, this was the best division round of football that I've ever seen in my life. I've been a fan of the NFL since 2006. So since I started watching that, every single game I've watched, every single playoff game I've watched, this ranks in as the greatest round of games that I've ever seen in the last 15 years. Has to be. Cole, unfortunately, he is a Bills fan. So, guys, make sure you guys give your sympathy and your thoughts to Cole in the live chat down below. All I feel is pain. Such a tough loss, and you would say it is the top 5 game. That's all right. The Bills going to be a great team moving forward. Absolutely. You know, I think the season was definitely a Super Bowl or bust for the Bills. And there's a lot of teams in that aspect, which we're going to get into when we talk about later on in the show. But the Bills were definitely one of those teams. And unfortunately, they weren't able to get past the Chiefs. You know, the hump that they needed to get past was the AFC Championship game that they got to last year. It's like, okay, every single year we're improving. We made the wild card round of the playoffs. Now we're going to the AFC Championship game. Oh, man, but now we lost in the divisional round because the Chiefs are a kryptonite. We just can't seem to beat them in the postseason. Maybe the Bills definitely they want to go back to the drawing board and see what they can do to improve in some areas. But I think for the most part, they're already like if they won the Super Bowl this whole year, I don't think anybody would have complained like, oh man, the Bills weren't deserving of that. No, absolutely. They are a Super Bowl winning worthy team. Super Bowl worthy team. It just so happened that the way the cards lined up, the stars were aligned, that they had to face the Chiefs in the division round of the playoffs. Fortunately, not so good for the Buffalo Bills. They unfortunately go home and the Chiefs advance to the AFC Championship. But with all that said, I think we can go ahead and say that with confidence, we are now down to the Final Four and we have determined who is going to play who. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a great one coming up with the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship. This is the first time that the Bengals have been to the AFC Championship since the 1980s. A lot is on stake in this game, and for the Kansas City Chiefs, they want to get past their fourth AFC Championship game in advance to the Super Bowl to make up for that embarrassing loss, I want to say, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year. But this is your AFC Championship game. The Bengals and the Chiefs. That is what's on tap for those teams. Now, for the NFC Championship, we talked a lot about the AFC, but we haven't talked a little bit about the NFC just yet. And we want to go ahead and give credit to those that have made the NFC Championship. The NFC Championship that is going to be played next week is between the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams. Two NFC West rivals where the 49ers have bested the Rams twice so far this season. Can they get over that hump and beat them for a third straight time? It's going to be hard to do against one of the more well-rounded teams in the NFL and the LA Rams. But that is your NFC Championship game for next week to determine who goes to Super Bowl 56. Some great matchups, absolutely, that we've got coming up, and I cannot wait to watch that round of football. It's going to be hard to top the division round of the playoffs, but we'll see for sure what happens in those games. Now, NFL news and notes that we're going to get you guys caught up on as of today, January 24th, 2022. What is happening around the league? Speaking about the future next week, some people don't even know what's the next season is going to lie for them. And there's two big name quarterbacks that unfortunately in the NFC lost their games, and now they're out of the running for Super Bowl 56. That includes Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. First off, with Aaron Rodgers, he stated post-game after that loss to the San Francisco 49ers, he's going to be evaluating the next month, the next 2 months, whatever it may be, and then he's going to be making a decision. And he made sure to make a decision or say in a post-game press conference that he's going to be making a decision, obviously, before free agency. Aaron Rodgers this whole season has been very transparent. He has been unapologetically speaking his mind. And with him saying, yes, I'm going to make a decision before free agency, you can go ahead and guarantee, yes, I'm going to go ahead. Aaron Rodgers is going to make that decision. Now, it could be on the Pat McAfee show. It could be later on. It could be, reports, rumors, whatever it may be. Aaron Rodgers set to make a decision on his future with the Green Bay Packers later on before the start of free agency, which is in the middle of March. Pittsburgh, Denver, those teams, they're locked in. They're listening in, seeing what happens with Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady, however, on the other hand, his future, non-committal, not just for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but for playing in the future as well. This report kind of came out of nowhere this past weekend where sources close to Brady have been saying that Tom Brady is non-committal on his playing future. Now, okay, here's the thing. Whenever there's a source that is close to someone that is saying all this stuff, they say it for a reason. They don't just throw Tom Brady underneath the bus. They're not like, hey, screw you. We're going to go ahead and reveal all your secrets. They're not saying that. None of them are saying that. So this had to have been leaked or strategically planned by Tom Brady's camp, by Tom Brady saying, yeah, let's get some reports out there that, this information needs to be leaked, that I'm not committed about my future. That's a journalism tip for you guys, that whenever, it's the way journalism is nowadays, a lot of news and reports, they don't seem to be just reported out of the blue, regardless of what the person the news is about thinks. It's more so, hey, I'm thinking about reporting these news that of you like signing this contract or whatever it may be. Is it okay with you if I were to report this news? They say, yeah. Wait a couple of days before you release this news. It's just the way the journalistic news is. So, with Tom Brady's sources coming out and saying that he's non-committal, this was strategically planned. I am like 80% confident that this was a strategy by Tom Brady and his camp. Like, hey, let's get the news out there that I'm non-committal. I don't know what that could mean. I don't know if it's an underlying thing like, oh man, look at me. Now I'm coming back and I'm better than ever. I'm 45 years old, but I almost retired. I was non-committal. I don't know what it may be, but leave your thoughts in your comments down below. Do you think that Tom Brady is actually going to be leaving the NFL? Is he going to be retiring before he hits the age of 45, or is he going to hit that age, get one more season, and then go ahead and leave the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the NFL? He's got one more year on his contract through the year of 45, so next year would be his last year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if they don't choose to re-sign him. Sean McVay stated that after the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that he has tremendous faith in Cam Akers. This is just kind of noteworthy news that I want to throw out there because Cam Akers came onto the scene after Achilles injury last week against the Arizona Cardinals, had a great game. And then this past week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, didn't have a great game just because the Tampa Bay run defense is pretty stingy, but he did cough up a fumble, before his head hit the ground. Sean McVay afterwards said, no, we have all the faith in the world in Cam Akers. He's going to continue to be our lead back, which is interesting. Coming off an Achilles, Sony Michel's been looking really good. Darrell Henderson has been activated to return off of injured reserve. Still rolling with Cam Akers. Who's been looking great. I just say it's interesting, not just because Cam Akers, not that he's been looking bad, but because of the injury that he just came back from. Superhuman in his recovery process. Jordanian Poppy is actually tuning in right now and saying, it's a great day to be a Rams fan. Hey, for a second, you were scared. Don't tell me you weren't scared. Hey, I'm a Falcons fan. And I sympathize with you if you guys lost. If you guys lost, I was going to be like, dang it. Here we go again. Obviously, Tom Brady and Robert Gronkowski had to make that epic comeback to make it 27-27. Dude, did you guys see Skip and Shannon Sharp predicting this to a T, where he said, I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be high scoring. I think the Pro Bowl kicker walks it off. Game-winning field goal, 30-27, final score. He called that. He predicted the future. Yeah, so it was scary. It was scary for sure. I'm not going to lie with you guys. Like, if I was a Rams fan, I'd been like, oh my gosh, here we go again. I've seen what they did with the Atlanta Falcons. But the mistake, actually, great strategy by Sean McVay. When they scored a touchdown, it was 26-3. They could have gone for 2 points to make it a 4-possession game. Instead, they go for the extra point because they knew that if they went for 2 and they made it 28-3, Bucs would have came back and won. They would have won. But the fact that it was 27-3, no way they're coming back. No way. Smart on Sean McVay's part. Don't want to be down or up 28-3 against Tom Brady. Speaking of Tom Brady, let's talk more about that LA Rams game and that unsportsmanlike penalty that he had when Sean Hockley threw the flag, and he had that bloody lip. I know you guys know the scene of Tom Brady going like, and his lip is all bloody. Sun in his face. It's a pretty good blue steel, right? Tom Brady on that unsportsmanlike penalty was upset because of the hit that was to his face, and they did not call that as a penalty. So Tom Brady, according to Sean Hockley, this is per his quote, he got in my face in an aggressive manner and used abusive language. That is per Sean Hockley, the official referee, the son of Ed Hockley, who's retired in the NFL, went ahead and said that. So that was the reason behind the unsportsmanlike penalty, used abusive language. Oh, I also have a quote on Tom Brady, by the way, if you guys want to hear what his official thoughts were on his future. He says, haven't given it a lot of thought to it, taking it day by day and see where we're at. Truthfully, guys, I'm thinking about this game and not thinking about anything past 5 minutes from now. Okay, so just give Tom Brady some time and he'll make a decision. Some injuries that occurred during the divisional round of the playoffs. Tyler Johnson of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he has a rib injury, and he did not return to that game. So I don't know his status. I mean, the season is over, so I mean, he's probably just resting up at this case and moving forward. Uh, and then other people that have been eliminated from playoff contention, they should be fine by the start of the next season. Is A.J. Dillon, fractured rib. He did not return in the third quarter and moving forward in that game against the 49ers. But he has a fractured rib, and that was the reason behind him missing that game. Tristan Wirfs, we talked about his ankle all week long, about him not making this official, start against the LA Rams. He has an ankle injury, and now he's going to go undergo ankle surgery to repair his ankle. So hopefully he can recover well and be good for the start of 2022. Tyrann Mathieu. Now, this is affecting a team that is still in the playoffs. Had a concussion. He left the game against the Buffalo Bills. That was a big, big loss for the Chiefs because Gabriel Davis, 4 touchdowns. Oh, my goodness. 200 yards receiving. Gabriel Davis. Hope you guys bought a lot of stock in him in Prediction Strike because he went off. He made some people some money. And Tyrann Mathieu was in concussion protocol. So his status for next week against the Cincinnati Bengals is still up in the air. We have to see what's going to be happening with him. Some head coaching news that is going around the league from this past weekend. I'm just going to go ahead and quickly breeze through this. But the New York Giants have officially hired Bills assistant general manager Joe Schoen. Sheen? I don't know. But he's going to be the next general manager of the New York Giants. And then they completed some head coaching interviews, including Brian Daboll and Leslie Frazier, both of the offensive and defensive coordinators of the Buffalo Bills. And then this is a new name that popped up in the head coaching hunt. Lou Anarumo. I just don't want to mispronounce that, but Lou Anarumo, the defensive coordinator of the Cincinnati Bengals, who has not been interviewed by any team thus far. The New York Giants have completed their head coaching interview for him. Let's see if he's a good candidate for them. The Minnesota Vikings completed their interview for DeMeco Ryans, the defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers. Credit to him. Oh, my goodness. Much credit to him because he is one of the sole reasons why the 49ers are so alive in the NFC Championship at this point. Going 9-8, winning game after game after game, and really against high-powered offenses like the Rams, the Cowboys, and the Packers in 3 straight weeks. DeMeco Ryans and that defense have been looking great. So the Minnesota Vikings would not be a bad team if they hired DeMeco Ryans as their next head coach. The Chicago Bears, they completed their interview process with Todd Bowles and Dan Quinn. The Denver Broncos completed it with Eric Bieniemy, which surprisingly, AFC West rival. I'm surprised that the Chiefs allowed access for Bieniemy. I'm guessing at this point, like, hey, Bieniemy, you're worthy enough to be an NFL head coach. Like, this is for you at this point. Now some defensive coordinators that are moving on from their teams. This is all in the AFC North. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Keith Butler, the defensive coordinator, 65 years old. He announced that he is going to be retiring from the NFL, and he's going to be leaving the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then the Baltimore Ravens. Not a retirement, but more like a parting ways is what they said. But we all know that it's because the secondary has been atrocious. Don Martindale, the defensive coordinator, Wink, has been fired by the Baltimore Ravens as of January 24th. And that is your NFL news and notes for today. Ken Drock saying the Pro Bowl kicker was short from 47. He was. But I love the satisfaction of that. It was his former team, and he had the game-winning field goal. It happens. Hey, actually, as a matter of fact, in the New York Giants Green Bay Packers NFC Championship game in 2007, Lawrence Tynes missed it from 37 yards. Otherwise, they would have not gone into overtime. And then in overtime, he made a 47-yard field goal to catapult the Giants to Super Bowl 42. So, you may miss it early on, but then, later on when it matters the most, I guess, you rebound and you can make it. And that's why Matt Gay is going to the Pro Bowl. Well deserving. Well deserving. All right. Now what we're going to talk about, 10 things that we learned from this past Sunday slate of games. I actually wrote down a list of 9 things. So let's just talk about 9 things. But 9 takeaways from this past weekend of NFL games. I'm going to go ahead and hydrate for this because, oh boy, I got a lot to say. Let's get started, shall we? It is time. It is time. It has been time for the NFL to change their overtime rules. This is not discrediting the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, coming back with 13 seconds left, tying the game, and then scoring in overtime. Well-deserving, great team, talented, well-deserving of making the AFC Championship game. Not discrediting that. But after yesterday's game against the Buffalo Bills, where Josh Allen and company did not have a shot at getting the ball back and moving the ball down the field in a game where it was so high scoring, where it was just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and not giving both teams the shot at winning this, I think it's time to change overtime rules. But we've been down this so many times, been down this road so many times where a team does not have a shot at getting onto the field and winning the game. I'm not saying put the ball down at the 2-point conversion line, go 2-point conversion. I'm not saying put it down at the 25-yard line. No, play regular football, kick it off, kick return, and then just go back and forth. And there's only one thing that the NFL needs to change that I do not understand why it hasn't happened yet. If a team scores a touchdown, give the other team a shot. That's it. And then after that, it's sudden death. Why did they change it to where, okay, first off, it started off, whoever scores first wins. Field goal, touchdown, doesn't matter. Oh, well, then that's really in the favor of the coin toss. Okay, well, there's a lot of teams complaining, so let's do it where if you kick a field goal, the other team has a shot. But if you score a touchdown in the opening drive, no. Like, game is over. What's the hesitation? What is the hesitation on just allowing both teams to have a shot at winning the game? Now, that was one of the best games that I've seen in a very, very, very long time. And that did not discredit how great of a game that was. But just imagine if both teams had a shot at going back and forth and winning this game, and you had Josh Allen on the field with the Buffalo Bills offense, where this game has already been back and forth for the last 2 minutes. Who knows? Who knows what the outcome could have been? So again, not discrediting the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm just saying it's kind of unfair to keep on going with these overtime rules when all you got to do is just change one thing. One thing. Score a touchdown. Give the other team a chance. That's my 2 cents on it. Takeaway number 2. I have been saying this for the longest time. I have been ramming this down your throat since preseason, and now finally people are picking up on this. Evan Mcpherson is the next Justin Tucker. In the fantasy football world, I've been saying preseason that he's going to be a top 10 fantasy kicker. After week 1, when he kicked a game-winning field goal against the Minnesota Vikings, and I actually watched him play, I said he's going to be a top 5 kicker. And guess what? He finished as a top 5 kicker. Great leg, accurate as heck. And when I say accurate, I'm not just talking about, okay, makes a field goal. I'm talking about when he converts a field goal, it doesn't matter on which hash he is kicking from on the field, it goes dead center most of the time. One of the more reliable kickers in the NFL, Evan Mcpherson on a great offense. He's only 22 years old with that leg strength and so much potential in this league. Evan Mcpherson is the next Justin Tucker. Please, please, please do not ignore this. I've been saying this the whole season for fantasy football. Evan McPherson, he's a pickup in fantasy football every single week, Evan McPherson, but people just don't care about kickers. They just overlook kickers. I hope this game helped you guys realize that Evan McPherson is actually really, really good. One of the best kickers I've seen in a very long time. Man. All right. Speaking of kickers, the next takeaway, Harrison Butker. This is going to be a hot take. And don't get mad at me because I love Harrison Butker. I personally talked to Harrison Butker. Great guy. Great guy to interview. Harrison Butker is good, but I wouldn't say he's one of the top kickers in the NFL anymore. I know that for the longest time, it's always been Justin Tucker and Harrison Butker as the top two kickers in the NFL. The last 2 years have told me that Harrison Butker, he's good, but he can be unreliable at times. And you just don't know which kicks he's going to be making and which kicks he's going to be missing. Unfortunately, that's the case with Harrison Butker. And it came down to yesterday missing an extra point, missing a field goal that was not that far off. I think Harrison Butker at this point, I want to say he's one of the best kickers in the NFL. Like, great leg strength. And if you need him to kick a game-winning field goal, I would trust him more than many other kickers in the NFL. But to say that he's one of the top kickers in the NFL, I mean, I think that Evan McPherson has dethroned him as one of the top and better kickers in the NFL alongside Justin Tucker, Daniel Carlson as well. There's so many kickers out there that I would say that are a lot more reliable than Harrison Butker. That's just my opinion on that. Takeaway number 4. Chris W., by the way, you retracted your message, but I went ahead and caught it. I saw it before you retracted it, where you said, why don't you just hand everybody a Super Bowl trophy at that point? Maybe you're referring to the overtime rules. Nah, I mean, I'm not saying that the Chiefs aren't deserving. I'm just saying, at this point, like, what are we doing here with the overtime rules? It's gotten to that point. All right, takeaway number 4. Ryan Tannehill is under a microscope next season. I'm not saying he's going to get released by the Tennessee Titans. I think he's still going to be their quarterback for the next year at least. But after losing to the divisional round of the playoffs to the Cincinnati Bengals, I think at this point the Titans are like, if you didn't throw 3 interceptions, we might have won. And Mike Vrabel's not going to throw his quarterback underneath the bus. Obviously not. Like, he's a great coach. But I think moving forward, the media pressure and everything else is going to get to the Titans, where Ryan Tannehill, if he makes any sort of mistake, it's going to be going back to, you cost the Titans a Super Bowl run in the divisional round of the playoffs. Is he really our quarterback of the future that can lead us to the promised land? So Tannehill, I like him, and he's been such an upgrade from Marcus Mariota. The Titans have been looking great for the last 3 years that he's been their quarterback. But after that game, he's got 2 more years left on his contract. Is Tannehill going to be underneath the microscope moving forward next season? Takeaway number 5. The 49ers are not the best team in the playoffs, but they are the most deserving. I talked about this earlier where they won 3 straight games against high-powered offenses on the backs of their defense and great defensive coaching by their defensive coordinator, DeMeco Ryans. You faced the Rams offense, came back from a 17-point comeback. You faced the Cowboys, came back and won that game. Or they didn't come back. No, they were ahead the whole time. But anyways, you faced the Cowboys. You prevented a comeback from happening from Dak Prescott in a high-powered offense. And then, against the Green Bay Packers, limiting them to just 10 points against MVP favorite Aaron Rodgers, DeMeco Ryans needs a lot more credit than he gets as the defensive coordinator of the 49ers. So the 49ers are not the most talented team. I would say that could go in the favor of maybe the Rams or the Chiefs. But they're the most deserving. They've grinded all year long. Grit, determination, and great coaching have led the 49ers to this point in the NFC Championship. Takeaway number 6. Aaron Rodgers played his last game with Green Bay. I'm pretty confident in that. Pretty confident. And this just goes back to how we felt during the offseason about the rumors out there, about sources closest to him saying, why is he sitting out? It's because of he's just not happy with the Packers organization. And then him coming out and being true and transparent with the media and unapologetically himself all year long and being open and honest and saying, yeah, it's because of this and that and this and that that I haven't been showing up to OTAs. Aaron Rodgers, since the beginning of the season, doesn't know if he's going to be coming back with the Green Bay Packers. But I think after this loss against the San Francisco 49ers, it's kind of set in stone like, yeah, we're like 90% sure. And Aaron Rodgers himself as well is going to evaluate which teams are the best teams to move forward to. But I think at this point, after 2 years, 3 years of reaching the NFC Championship, reaching the Divisional Round, and not getting past that hump, I think he's now looking forward to, okay, what is going to give me the best opportunity to win a championship? It could be Green Bay, but then there's other teams out there like Pittsburgh that maybe are just a quarterback away from making that run. So Aaron Rodgers played his last game in Green Bay. And speaking of Green Bay, takeaway number 7, the Packers are going to be taking a step back with Jordan Love as their quarterback. He's played 2 games this year. One of them he officially started. The other one, Aaron Rodgers started, but pretty much he played for the majority of the game against the Detroit Lions in Week 18. He did not look the best. His stats this season, 2 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. You could say, okay, well, he's just a second year. He's just getting adjusted to the offense. He hasn't had a lot of experience. Sure, okay, I'm hoping that there's room to improve. But if you want to compare this season to next season, if you had Jordan Love under center compared to Aaron Rodgers was the blood of that team and was the reason why they got so far in the playoffs. And if you have Jordan Love, that's going to be taking a step back for the Green Bay Packers. And this window that they have of making the championship, the Super Bowl, from 2019 on, making the NFC Championship, making the divisional round of the playoffs, that window is going to be shrinking and shrinking and shrinking every single year that you have Jordan Love and he plays the way that he's been playing in 2021. So, that takeaway, the Green Bay Packers taking a step back with Jordan Love. Takeaway number 8, all teams in the championship have issues in the secondary. And that's what's going to make the NFC Championship and the AFC Championship exciting to watch, is that this could be a high-scoring weekend coming up. Just like the divisional round of the playoffs. It could be close. It could be very, very close. The Rams, the 49ers, the Bengals, the Chiefs, all of them have issues in the secondary that they needed to fix all year long that can be exposed. That's why I'm saying there's no clear favorites in going and advancing to the Super Bowl, because their secondary at any point, blown coverages, we saw this past weekend, blown coverages, miscommunication has led a lot of these teams to come back, has led these teams to have high-scoring games. Could be anyone's game this weekend. And then the last takeaway, the Rams have the most to lose. Out of the 4 teams that remain in the championship round, the Rams have the most to lose. At best, for the 2022 NFL Draft, they have a 3rd-round pick based off some incentives and things like that. At worst, they have a 5th-round pick. Al Michaels said it best this past Sunday. They've been trading draft picks like it's candy wrappers. Like they just want the talent on their team. They don't care about the future. It's about now. Win now mode with Matthew Stafford, with Von Miller, and so many other players that they traded for in return of draft picks. This is it. The most to lose. You have nothing else. 2021 is the season of the Rams, or it's a complete bust moving forward. This kind of reminds me of the Houston Texans last year. The earliest pick that they had was the 3rd round, and they picked Davis Mills with their first pick of the 2021 NFL Draft. And we saw how much they regressed in 2021 for the Rams. Could the same thing happen? Could they regress next year if they don't win a Super Bowl this year? Would it have been worth it if they don't win a Super Bowl this season? And that is my takeaways from the divisional round of the playoffs. Now we're going to be interacting with the live chat, see what you guys are saying. And I'm going to go ahead and throw up this graphic one more time for you guys. Make sure you guys call in. Join the waiting room under voice channels to chat live. So click that link in the description for our Discord. Join in. Click on the waiting room, and then you can go live. And we'll be interacting with you guys and seeing what your thoughts are on the division round of the weekend. Let's go ahead and answer some questions, though, with the live chat and see what you guys are saying. Rubio saying not sure about Cam looking great. Yeah, his stats it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best. I'm saying great in the sense of coming back from an Achilles injury and taking over as the lead back over Sony Michel. I mean, he earned that right. He earned that right. He beat out Sony Michel for the starting job once again. Yeah, but Cam Akers needs to step it up as far as his yards per carry goes. I was terrified when it was one touchdown game. OT rules kind of suck. I feel like the Bills were a better team. Okay, so first off, I was terrified when it was a one touchdown game. Talk about the Rams. Yeah, it's kind of scary. And the OT rules kind of suck. I feel like the Bills were a better team. And, I think it's kind of evenly matched as far as like who's better. Is it the Bills or the Chiefs? So that's why I'm not like upset that the Chiefs are going and moving forward. Like they deserve it. They won. They came back. All the credit to them. They knew the rules are the rules, and they abided by the rules, and they won. Actually, as a matter of fact, there was a lot of calls that could have been called against the Buffalo Bills that weren't called. So, I mean, credit to Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs. They looked great. But, yeah, the OT rules, man, that's what'll get you. We've actually got someone joining in on the in the waiting room. So I'm going to go ahead and get him on and see what he's saying. So we've got Liking James. Liking James is now joining us. Can you hear us? Where'd he go? Liking James. Can I not move him here to this? Hello, can you hear us? You're on, brother. Oh, all right. Well, let me go ahead and make sure you unmute your mic, Liking James. Unmute your mic. Let me see if I can unmute it for you. Server mute. Hello. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me, my guy?
Yes, I can. Hey, thanks for joining us.
How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing fantastic. I mean, I'm still trying to catch my breath after the weekend of games, but it's been great. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, it was hell of a game. It was probably the best weekend of football I've seen in a long time, man.
Yeah, for sure. What you want to talk about on the show?
So I wanted to talk about the Bengals and Chiefs game. I know it's going to be a big game, blowout game for Burrow, hopefully, but I want to see who you have winning that game.
Man, it is early on in that game for me to make a decision. I want to say my heart is telling me the
Chiefs and
Bengals.
Bengals.
But I want to go ahead and say that the Chiefs are the favorite in that one. But my heart is telling me the Bengals. Like I love a good underdog story. I loved like the runs that these teams. Like I was a big fan of like the New York Giants making that push in the playoffs and being the undefeated Patriots. So I'm hoping the Bengals can pull it off. But my mind is telling me the Chiefs. I don't know what your opinion is on that. But you went ahead and signed off right here. But yeah, I appreciate you joining us for giving us your opinion on that and asking your question. But yeah, I mean, definitely let us know who you guys have in the chat as well. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Do you think Henderson will be a Ram next season, and what will be his role going forward? The backfield is so crowded with Akers back, Michelle, and Henderson. And what's possible landing spots for Rojo? Gabriel asking this question. I think let me go ahead and pull up Darrell Henderson contract, and let me see if I can show you guys the contract here. Darrell Henderson contract. Actually, as a matter of fact, I don't know if Ronald Jones is going to be a free agent. I know the biggest free agents coming up are going to be Leonard Fournette and Cordero Patterson. So if that were the case, and I'm just speculating here with Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette is 28 years old. Ronald Jones does not look like a bad starting running back in the NFL. So could it be that Ronald Jones could take over as the starting running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? We'll have to see. Let me go ahead and pull up Darrell Henderson's contract right here. Yeah, so he's on contract next year. So he's not going to be, I mean, he could be released. He could be traded as well. But If you want to talk about freaking ads, dude, freaking ads, the greatest ever. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and say that they might release him. They could trade him. There might be some teams out there that are like, hey, I need a starting running back. Darrell Henderson is worthy. He proved in 2021 that he could be a starting running back in the NFL. I mean, if I'm the Atlanta Falcons or any team like that, I'd consider it. Maybe even the Buffalo Bills. I would consider it. I know Devin Singletary has been looking great, but he'd be a good 1-2 punch with Singletary, with Zach Moss not really doing much. But Darrell Henderson, I think, will he be a Ram next season? I say yes, unless he's traded. I don't think they're going to release him. I highly doubt that a talent like him, they like him, even if he only gets like 3 touches a game. They'd rather keep him on $1 million contract for 1 year rather than just giving away for nothing. Just releasing him. Yeah, but it is kind of crowded. I think Sonny Michel, I don't think he's coming back. I think that's the player that they might release. It's almost poetic for him to go to the 49ers next year, talking about Aaron Rodgers. Could be. Melee saying all signs pointed to Pittsburgh, LOL. Others saying same. Hey, Russell Wilson, don't sleep on him. He could be a candidate for Pittsburgh or Denver, or maybe the New Orleans Saints as well. Could be a topic of discussion. Under your proposed OT rules, it would be a tremendous advantage to kickoff. That's from Ken Trock, talking about the rant that I had earlier about the not the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, and how it should be overtime. I mean, I don't know. Am I missing something? Maybe I'm not caught up with the news. I don't know. Why the NFL just hasn't said you can, like, everybody gets a chance. You get a shot. You get a shot. That's the most fair. I saw a take on TikTok. Now I'm not throwing him under the bus. Like, he joined us on the show. Theo Ash, like, fantastic follow. Like, if you have a TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Instagram, he posts about his personal life, but Twitter, YouTube, he has a YouTube channel with a podcast, Stay Hot podcast. I highly recommend that you go look up Theo Ash and give him a shout and tell him, like, hey man, I followed you from Time2Football, and I think your analysis and everything is amazing. But he's very smart as far as like YouTube football influencers go. He did give a take though on TikTok last night about how the overtime rules should not be changed, how it should stay the same because players are already injured, players are already spent, they've been playing for so long. The point of overtime is to get over with the game. So the fact that, that a game could end based off of a touchdown, sure, like we should be okay with that. We should be okay with that. And he went on to say, like, well, the defense has a job too in stopping the ball. And my thing with that is Tony Dungy said the same thing when he lost to the San Diego Chargers in the playoffs, when Darren Sproles had that big game against the Indianapolis Colts in his last season coaching. In 2008, Tony Dungy said, the defense has a job too. And this is back when even a field goal could have won an overtime game. He said, the defense has a job too. They need to stop the ball from going down the field. Our defense did not do that job. I agree, but the defense also has a job regardless of if a team has a shot or not. Both defenses have a job, and both defenses should be on the field as well to give each team a fair shot at winning this game. So I don't think you should put it in the hands like a coin toss to determine, okay, it's going to be my defense versus this offense, and that's going to determine the fate of us going to the Super Bowl. No, it should be my offense, my defense, my whole team, special teams, kicking it off, field goals, whatever, punting, versus their offense, defense, special teams. We're back to square one, overtime. Like the official said yesterday in yesterday's game. It's a whole new game. But it didn't feel like it. My 2 cents. James Zachary saying Bengals Rams Super Bowl. I think that's what America wants to see. I think that's what a lot of people want to see, just because I think a lot of people were rooting for the Bills just because they were like, people like to see like new teams go and like to see like fan bases get excited. And the Bengals, I think that's a fan base that has been yearning for a Super Bowl for so long. And I think that's what America wants to see. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I got the Rams. I think I have the Rams being the 49ers, but I got to do a little bit more research, man. I'm not counting out the 49ers at this point. Thoughts on Michael Thomas? Back to old strength without Breeze as quarterback. Cheers. He's not going to go back to being a reception leader. I think he's too many injuries in at this point. I think it's age might have a factor at this point. Too much playing or too much time off the field. And I think Michael Thomas is going to be a good wide receiver, but I don't think he's going to be going back to his what he's been coined as the slant king. That's what he's been called. What he's been crowned. I don't think that's going to happen. He's still a very good wide receiver though, but we'll see. 2 teams from the NFC West in the NFC Championship game. Yes, sir. Should be a good one. Trenton saying, last year, Bucks were 5th seed and making it to the Super Bowl. Bengals were 4th seed this year. I agree with you, TTOF. I like an underdog story. Yeah, man. I'm with you on that. I'm scared of the Chiefs, man. If I'm a Bengals fan, I'm like, I beat them earlier this season, but it was by a field goal, and I don't know if I can do it again. The rules today favor the offense so much. Yes, each team should get 1 possession in overtime. What about a kicker shootout in overtime, like how soccer does it? Oh, would be interesting to see. Would be very interesting to see. I think that would be a little bit too, I guess, gimmicky. Like, it wouldn't be like, oh, we're playing football. You know, I guess it does put some weight onto kickers. Like, hey, do you start off like 35-yard field goal, then 40-yard field goal, 45, 50, 55, 60, like, you know, just keep on going back. Like that would be interesting to see, for sure. But that would be actually very fun. Very, very fun. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, I kind of want to see that. All right. Well, if you guys aren't tuning into Discord or anything of that nature, or leaving any more comments in the live chat, I want to go ahead and sign off right here. But I'm going to go ahead and give credit to Liking James. That's who it was. Liking James. Going ahead and joining us on this chat, on this Discord. Make sure you guys tune in as well in future episodes. We'll give you that opportunity every single day, Monday through Friday. With all that said, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. Best kick, then best pass. Hey, this is like the Pro Bowl. This is what we're doing. We're doing a skills competition with the Pro Bowl. But best run? I see what you're doing right here. Yeah, but I encourage you guys to subscribe to this channel and leave the comments down below and let us know your thoughts on the AFC and the NFC Championship. It's been determined. With all that said, thank you guys so much for joining us for this episode of Time to Football. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.